Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Sri and Peter.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Of course, Sri, one of the aforementioned CPG guys, all the way from the home of the Super Bowl champions, the LA Rams, the southwest frontier of our continent, Los Angeles, aka LA, La La Land. My co-host and friend, of course, is the VP of Partner Strategy and Dev at Fetch Rewards, a mobile loyalty platform as we endeavor to explore consumer engagement in a digitally driven world these days known as omnichannel. An impresario in the world of loyalty, rewards, and best known for producing 6-foot receipts when you buy a single product at a pharmacy chain. Welcome the man, Mr. Bond. How are you, sir? At the time of this recording, I believe you had just celebrated about a week and a half ago a momentous occasion in your life.
Hey, Sri, it's great to talk to you. Yeah, my daughter turned 3 years old, so Nadia is a three-nager. Oh, my goodness. And she has a voice, and I'm very proud of it. Yeah, I'm down actually, Sri. I'm down in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest, engaging with a whole bunch of quite inebriated people walking around the street. It's interesting being a sober person amongst these strange night owls. But in any event, having a great time down here. And Sri, what's very exciting is as we've recorded this, we just found out that the collective bargaining agreement with the Major League Baseball Players Association has been approved by the owners, hopefully by the players very shortly. And we got 162 games, Sri. I'm coming to LA. You know I'm going to go to Chavez with you. We're going to watch little baseball action soon, right? So good to be here with you, my friend.
Yankees, Dodgers play ball indeed. We waited for a long time for this moment. But let me remind our audience that all of our content, 175 episodes plus, may be found by visiting cpgguys.com on a browser. If you aren't already following this growing family on LinkedIn, all you got to do is hit CPG Guys in the search box, and when you get to our page, click follow. That's a blue plus follow button. That way you'll get to see all of the content we produce. And the best thing about it, Peter says it's totally free, and I believe him. Did you know we are in partnership with Next Up, the network of executive women now rebranded, and in the middle of every Wednesday podcast episode is hidden an Easter egg with a message from Next Up. Download, tune in, listen. Thank you to all of our 11K followers and continuing to grow a rapid pace every single day. This show is made by you, for you, from you. Can't thank you enough for following us. Of course, you also know we've launched a second podcast called the FMCG Guys, which takes the CPG Guys format of omnichannel digital exploration across the ocean to the European market. Our friends Efrain and Daniel are the hosts based in Europe, and we'll be talking with FMCG retail thought leaders about the transformation happening on the other side of the Atlantic. At PBSB and I, of course, speak frequently with cutting-edge leaders in technology and connected commerce space. And Fortune 1 Walmart, of course, is well known for Walmart Connect, stores, and e-commerce. As the world's largest retailer, we often hear the extraordinary reach of its omnichannel capabilities. Did you know that Walmart.com actually has a 3P platform? Because Peter and I do. Do you know what a 3P platform is? Most brands partner with Walmart in the 1P model, whether online or in-store or simply omnichannel. To decompose, what is the Walmart 3P platform? Welcome to the show, the Director of Marketplace Strategy and Business Dev for Food, Consumables, Health and Wellness for Fortune 1 Walmart, Mr. Matthew Smith himself. Now, if this was live, Matthew, we would actually have a drum roll. There would be Felicidades. We might have even hung up a piñata for you.
We have very expensive technology here with
You
background
really
noises.
upgraded the show, guys.
There it goes. See, boom, 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 boom. That's sound effect.
How'd you like that, Matthew?
What has it been? 2 years? Is that it? 2 years since I was last here.
2 years running now, about a year and 10 months to be specific. But this is actually your second appearance on the show, and we're thankful that you've chosen to come back. The first one was back in the fall of 2021, representing Walmart Connect, when you were over in the advertising business in the beauty and skincare consumable space. You have a new job now. So, Matt, Welcome to the CPG Guys podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be back. And I got to ask Peter, so is the Drake Hotel still haunted, 2 years later for COVID? Yeah.
It's a little crazy.
What's the growth rate of to 11,000 followers on a 2-year stack, Sri? When does that look?
Okay. So I talk to a lot of people who run marketing for companies that have been around 4 or 5 years, and let's just say that our growth rate is in a year and a half eclipses what it took them 4 or 5 years to do. So I think that just speaks to the fact that we got people, either Sri and I, they just want to see us say really silly things, or maybe we have something interesting to say that people like. Or lastly, it's probably more about the guests we have on. That's, I think, why we have you here today, Matt.
You flatter. Well, let's try to make this sophomore album not the ultimate flop. And a year from now, when you're celebrating your daughter's fourth, we'll see what that number is, right? That's awesome. It's really great to be here, guys. Thanks for having me back. It's, nothing's going on at all. Nothing at all in the last 2 years, or certainly not now. So, slow news day, right?
So that's the episode. Thanks for joining us today. Oh, no, wait. No, we have something to talk about, don't we, Sri?
We do.
Yes, sir. Before we get to the questions and we get into the actual interview, would you please first tell us about where online our audience can learn more about this marketplace platform, and would you give them a brief overview of your core value proposition for brands and consumers?
Yeah, sure. So easy, marketplace.walmart.com, marketplace.walmart.com. You can learn all about it. You can apply to it, tell your friends, tell your family. Core value prop. I think the marketplace, it just, like all things, like all the best things at Walmart, begins from the Walmart promise, right? Which is to give the customers access to the products they need to live, increasingly better lives, right? Convenience, EDLP, all the acronyms you guys are very familiar with from your time in the space. But it's also importantly to give sellers, right, whether they're brand owners or resellers, authorized resellers, give them access, to that unmatched pool of customers that the world's largest retailer can only provide. And then I think on top of that, there's a halo of quality and trust that the customers then rely on Walmart for, right? So for a seller on Marketplace, that means, it promises more accessibility to a much larger pool of sellers, right, who don't need to be working with the merchants in sort of a traditional retail, what we might call 1P or first party capacity. It provides greater autonomy, right, and control for those sellers over the products they choose, over their pricing, over the offers they want to bring to Walmart. And then most importantly at the end, right, for the customer, what Marketplace does is it expands on the Walmart promise, right, because it radically scales both the size and the diversity of the products that we can offer. So customer can find, increasingly more and different products on Walmart.com without sacrificing quality, convenience, low prices they expect from us. So that's sort of the elevator, boilerplate, and we can double click into that. But makes sense?
Absolutely, and boy, are we going to double click or what? So thank you for that. Of course, for our listeners, we'll include hyperlinks to the link to the LinkedIn page, as well as the site that you just quoted, and of course your own LinkedIn page in our episode digital liner notes. And now, Peter, let's get ready to rumble. You can tell why I don't have the radio voice, but I've definitely got the radio face. Yeah, would you agree with us? So let's go. So let me start with the simplest of ones. You, of course, came on the show way back representing Walmart Connect about a year or so ago. Back then, of course, it was called Walmartmedia and its capabilities. Since then, your role has completely changed. Give us, hot off the press and the buzz, what is Mr. Matt's new role?
What does he do? Why is he here? You guys are retail insiders, and obviously your following is too. So I'll start from a point of assuming most people heard the Q4 earnings report. They heard Doug McMillan's remarks about the high growth areas of our business that drove us to our biggest quarter in history. I mean, it was really incredible. So Walmart Marketplace sits squarely on that short list of accelerators, right? And so really big plans to rapidly scale that offering this year for the customer and as a business driver. So for me, it's been not quite a year, but the opportunity to get into that at the ground floor, right, was just a hockey stick opportunity for growth and leadership on that team. And so my specific seat on that rocket ship, metaphor I'm fond of using, but is really growth strategy and business development, which is just a fancy way of saying really a matchmaker between, what the Walmart e-commerce customer and the companies who want to reach them, essentially, right? We're matchmakers. So what I do, what my team does, is we look for white space, right? We're looking for what does Walmart currently offer our customer, and what do our customers want but can't yet find at Walmart, and then we go find the sellers who can best fill those gaps, those assortment gaps, particularly the ones who can do it quickly, who can do it with really high offer quality and do it at scale. And then my team will drive, so the engagement of that, onboarding them, getting them on the platform, guiding their first few months, incubating them. And we don't do that alone. I mean, there are so many teams that contribute to this, really collaborative, really, cross-functional, also something I love. Really anybody that touches the Walmart.com business, we get to work with. And so many, really humble, really vulnerable, and really high-performing teams and people, all focused on innovation, some small different part of that. It was just like, can't say no. So it's been not quite a year and really loving every day.
Matt, thanks for coming back for episode 2. I guess that makes you a bit of a glutton for punishment. Maybe you thought you were on How I Built This. In any event, you're here. That means we get to ask you questions. So we're pretty excited about it. And you made a hockey stick reference.
Fire away, my friend.
If you can take that hockey stick and extend it out to a Wayne Gretzkyism later on, you'll have made my day, right? I know you can do it.
Somebody told you before we went on air that I'm not sporty, and so you're just punishing me, like every little dig, right? It's like,
of course, that's okay. All right, so
Gretzky was in LA. That's right. Okay, okay.
For a time, yeah. I think I don't know where he is now. He's in Phoenix. No, maybe not anymore. Anyhow, he's just counting his money, right? That's what he's doing. So we're an educational podcast. So would you, for our audience, please decompose the Walmart marketplace platform? Who's buying, who's selling, what are the responsibilities, just kind of the soup to nuts of how it works so that our audience can really understand exactly what this is all about and why it's important.
Yeah. Let me start from, for a marketplace to thrive, to succeed, and what we're really trying to build is a marketplace focused on, I think, like trust, fairness, has to be focused on mutual success, right? For Walmart, has to work for Walmart as well as our sellers. So Walmart provides the platform, we provide the audience, we provide the seller tools. But this is the key, factor here. Perhaps different than some other marketplaces. We're not dictating with sellers or negotiating with them on the terms of the actual offer to the customer, right? That would be the case in a first party or as you guys know, a 1P kind of merchant-led retail relationship. But in 3P, the seller controls the offer. So we're not picking the winners, and we're not tilting the table, in favor of one seller or another. Of course, we have really important guidelines, trust and safety policies, to ensure legal compliance, safety compliance, et cetera. Again, customer, big C at the center of everything. We have to make sure that bad actors don't find a home on the platform. And then we have a large and increasing stable of services that sellers can use, right, to improve the quality of their offers, to improve, their conversion rates, just overall improve their velocity on the platform. But we firmly believe, Walmart firmly believes that for a marketplace to really thrive and scale at the pace that our customer today needs, it has to be responsive, right, to market dynamics. And that's dynamics for both buyers and sellers, right? So that's everything from pricing to content to inventory to the, various fulfillment options, to what I'll say more qualitative factors like, what's trending in the culture? What is the seasonal demand? What are the innovations coming out that customers are really, really, throwing up at the top of organic search relevancy? What are all those demand spikes, right? So the only way to really be present for customer amidst all of those dynamic changes, is to have an open marketplace. And I think ultimately that's how, you can ensure EDLP, everyday low price, for a customer, because it's ultimately going to help you ensure a high density of sellers, a high density of items, and a high density of really, really great offers. And all of those are moving with the customer and at the speed of the customer. Does that make sense? Does that help decompose, as you said?
Yes, indeed. Everything you said, right? All the way from listing, how your team helps them get onboarded, getting out the final value to the consumer. In my experience I've had, which is a lot in 1P before also being in 3P myself with my own personal brand, ZenFuel, in a past life. One of the important things that I felt was very strong when being on a marketplace was having capabilities to be able to feature your brand. You can call it advertising, you can call it whatever you want, but it's really the ability to highlight and feature your brand to relevant audiences. So on the 1P platform, there's what was known as Walmartmedia, then the Walmart Connect ecosystem, where you can truly feature your brand. And I remember, in fact, isn't that how you and I met back at a cosmetics beauty manufacturer, Revlon, back in, let's say, the fall of 2019, and again in Las Vegas? We'll leave it as a mystery why Las Vegas to many people.
That was an awfully tall building we were in, that company that shall not be named, right? Yeah, and I think what's exciting is, yes, Connect, obviously, and Connect has just, grown. Again, refer back to Doug's, the Q4 earnings report and what was said there. It's just amazing. And I've loved the transition from Connect, and I love the fact that we get to still work very closely with that team, because it is obviously evolving at such a rapid clip. And yes, that is where we met. I would say the easiest way to think about how we relate to one another is we're both key pillars in each other's growth strategies, right? And so in some cases, in many cases, those evolutions, those developments for our various platforms, will be coordinated. I think we're starting from a really great place today, which is that any seller on marketplace can already tap into the power of Connect through sponsored products, right? Highly democratic. Anybody can get on there and start firing. And to help drive conversion right through the organic on-site search. So we expect to be, I think, expanding those products that are available to marketplace sellers. And then I think on the other side, what I hear and see is that Connect is really building out their capability to support the marketplace sellers, particularly our large sellers. So I think our success at marketplace is really tied to what customers are searching for on the site at the end of the day. And so two things we're really focusing on with WMC is, I think, number one, making our sellers' search campaigns more successful, right? Well, part of that work is going to focus on how do you improve the offer quality and the relevance, right, to improve the search rankings, right? And then the second part of that is how do you shorten the build time between when a seller goes live and when ultimately they can win that buy box, right? And so two huge rocks, but I think both Connect and us, we're really excited to partner on that. Great team over there.
Thanks for that, Matt. It seems like the marketplace is growing at a rapid clip. Any metrics you can share with us around that would be really great. But I'd like to understand how a seller enrolls to be part of the program. And the one thing that really intrigues me is if I'm already selling 1P through Walmart, can I also sell 3P? And if so, can you give me some examples of brands that are doing that?
Gosh, the soup we swim in is getting so. I don't know what the metaphor here is, but it's just the various roles that various actors play, and so whether you're somebody's client someday or somebody's service provider, I think is really fascinating. You guys are always grilling me for specifics. I love it. You wouldn't be good journalists otherwise, right? Best place to start is to refer back again to the Q4 earnings report, and specifically for e-commerce, we were up more than 70% on a 2-year stack. And so again, marketplace, huge contributor to that performance. It's going to continue. It's going to accelerate. And yeah, the platform's open to brand owners. and also authorized resellers currently in US and China and India. You're going to see more countries being added this year and in the next few years, of course. Great question about 1P suppliers. Short answer is yes, absolutely. 1P suppliers can sell on the marketplace platform. And I think what's cool is in this dance between 1P and 3P, 1P suppliers can actually find some unique value, right? If you're already working with Walmart, one value marketplace can bring is speed to market. And I think, Sri, we might actually had some discussions about this in previous roles, which is if you've got new product launches, right, or innovations that come out and they come out between that mod planning, line review window cycle, right? We can get those products on the marketplace really quickly and sometimes in less than a week, right? Which is just
Matt, stop the press, Peter. That is huge, and we need to make sure we repeat that again. So for vendors, if they want to get on Walmart's 3P marketplace platform, what I hear you say is stuff that can't be in the shelf for a variety of reasons in store and doesn't make its way to 1P can actually be on the 3P platform?
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, Peter, but that's huge.
Yeah, and it's that we could explore that topic all day, but essentially you'd be asking yourself, why would I possibly not want the Walmart customer to have access to all of my products, right? And why would I want a channel decision about 1P or 3P to be the limiting factor of that, right? So absolutely, yeah. So that's one piece of unique value, right, is just catalog extension, right, and torso and tail extension to get everything on the platform. One other piece of value I'll call is maybe the nursery effect or marketplace's nursery, right? Which is if you want to sort of test, right, and try to get some learnings about customer demand, right, and consumption patterns and any of the things you might want to see before you really go all in, right, on a launch, and where you can minimize the risk, both for Walmart and for the supplier directly. I think that's the nursery approach, and we've seen some strong effect with that, and that can lead to a great marketplace relationship, or maybe it graduates into a store relationship. And of course, not my call on that, but I think the last bucket would be there's some products where just the margins for either you or Walmart they're just never going to make sense, right, for 1P, and we can easily get those on the marketplace. So I think to land the plane there, the news, the headline there, Sri, if you're gonna keep interjecting with those, is that marketplace sellers have access to all the same tools that essentially a 1P merchant would use, right, in a regular retail capacity to drive sales. One of the really exciting ones I'm sure you guys have been reading about, it was also in the Q4 earnings statement, is Walmart Fulfillment Services, or WFS as we call that in the big house here. Amazing growth from that team. It's grown 500% since last year. And it's a really basic sort of thing, but it really works because it's about delivery promise, right? And it's about our sellers being able to guarantee, in many cases, 2-day. They can help us keep in-stocks high, right? Because Walmart's housing those products in our own fulfillment center, right, or FC. So another plug here. You guys are going to run out of space in your post, but that WFS team is actually running a great promotion now, which many of our listeners might want to check out. And very simply, new WFS sellers who sign up and can inbound at least one item between, I think it launched in late February, Feb 21. It's going to run through end of April 30. You'll receive free storage and 10% off of fulfillment for the first 90 days on the platform, right? So really, really strong opportunity. Yeah.
That is huge, Matt.
Yeah. Now, conditions apply, asterisks. But everybody can learn more about that. Again, I hope you can fit all of this in the post. But marketplace.walmart.com again, but /Walmart-fulfillment-services. And you can learn more about that. But really super exciting.
How fantastic. And I want to remind our audience that we are actually speaking to the Director of Marketplace Strategy and Business Development for Food, Consumables, Health, and Wellness, Matthew Smith himself. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for giving us the 101, 202, and 303 of the marketplace, and the fact that we can now, 1P vendors can actually have some portion of their portfolio which doesn't fit there in the 3P marketplace, and the fact that Walmart Connect is very much part of the pillars that support the foundation of the marketplace. So I'm going to jump into what's next, right? Like, what's the next frontier for the marketplace, and who do you recommend should connect with you, the marketplace, your teams, etc., to come on board? And is there any swing in the terms of brands, small brands, launcher brands, innovation for large brands? Like, how does this play itself out?
Yeah. You guys always have at least one like big meta kind of, religious question in a way, right? Maybe philosophical. So I'm gonna. I hope you don't mind. I might go. I'm gonna go there, right? We're gonna start with the upside down triangle, as they say. We spoke about the big C, right? Customer, and Walmart's customer promise. I think to deliver on that promise, you got to be where the customer is now, but you've got to be where they're going, right? You got to be where they're going to be next. And so the way I think about that is like,
you just threw out the Wayne Gretzkyism. Thank you very much. Go where the puck is going. Thank you.
I mean, I'm always good for a ballet reference, Peter. Totally. So you got to be where the customer.
He claimed he's not sporty, and here he is. Go where the puck is going. I mean, unfair, man.
Okay. So where's customer going to be next? So I think, right, one, the data required, right, to attempt such a prediction would be like one undertaking. Two, the wisdom, right, to know which of those data points are important would be another. And then three, and I think like infinitely harder and probably impossible, is the ability to operationalize against that, right? To build the physical and logistical footprint that you would need, for any business, right, to try and deliver on that, right, to deliver on that customer needs. So that's the setup. And the answer to that, I think, that's why I think marketplaces are, I think, Sri, you said the next frontier, because they distribute that burden, right? The burden of delivering on that promise in a really agnostic, and I would say even like democratic sort of a way. In a way, it's responsive, it's adaptable to what the customer needs and what the seller needs, and it can change quickly, right? So speed. And since we all know customer expectations are changing, what time is it? What second is it, right? They've just changed. And in this space, customers moving very rapidly, some might say already there, in terms of expecting, guaranteed 2-day delivery, increasingly like 1-day delivery. In some cases, 2-hour delivery. Who knows where drone delivery will take us, right? But any brand or seller who wants to capture that has to be in the ring. And so I'll kind of challenge, or just restate I think the second part of the question, which is like, who should be doing this, right? What sorts of brands are right for marketplace? And I'll just zoom out and say, any brand that provides a product that a customer wants will necessarily need to be active on third-party marketplaces, just because of all those dynamics I mentioned. And then to bring it home, for those who want to do that at the speed and the scale of the world's largest retailer, I think you said Fortune 1, I think they're going to be on Walmart Marketplace. Hope I didn't oversell, but I said I was going to get philosophical there.
That was perfect, Matt. Thank you. You nailed it. And like I said, you came to me with the Gretzkyism, go where the customer is going. I couldn't be happier. My blood pressure is through the roof right now because my heart is racing. I know.
Take a breath. Peter,
Serenity now. Serenity now.
11,000.
All right. Seriously though, you made mention of some of the services that you provide your marketplace sellers. You mentioned the fulfillment services. Can you walk us through, what are all the various services at a high level that you're offering to these sellers? And would love maybe a case study example of a seller that's really taking advantage of what you have to offer.
Yeah, I think, I've been with the company about not quite 3 years now. One thing I heard John Furner say pretty early on when I came on board was, I think this was during the, this sort of during and post the success of online pickup, like the grocery app, right? And the merger of that ecosystem with the Walmart.com ecosystem. But essentially what he said is you should never show the customer your org chart, right? Which I think is a way of saying, you don't want the way you show up to the customer to reflect the way your company is built, right? You sort of want to do the opposite, which is you want to build your company and the way you operate around how you show up to the customer. But I will say, I'll show a little bit of the org chart here, if that's okay. There's basically two sides of the marketplace business. There's the side that I'm on, which is BD, biz dev, right? And we're all about seller acquisition, new seller acquisition. And again, getting the right sellers who will close those assortment gaps that Walmart customer needs, right? So BD is everything that you guys know sales and BD is. We're educating, we're helping, to support onboarding, we're training. There's some technical account management that we support. But mostly it's a consulting gig, right? It's about helping sellers understand, what assortment they should be bringing on, what programs and incentives we have to help them get on board, just making sure they're best positioned for success, like right out of the gate. And to your point, yeah, things like use WFS to ensure that you're in stock, right? And that you can guarantee 2-day delivery. Use Walmart Connect to help drive your conversion, right? Optimize your content, right? To make sure that you can really drive your discoverability and just really get up there in the algorithm and the rankings. The other side of the house is sort of where, they go in perpetuity for the rest of their relationship with Walmart, which is a huge sort of SBU led, kind of somewhat reflective of the merchant org in terms of categories, category process, and like account management, right? And this is the team that is really leaning in with sellers directly, or in some cases through automated tools, to pull on all the levers that a seller needs to drive their business, to drive it quickly and to just keep it going and going and going. And so, that's customer insights, category insights, pricing strategies, promotions, offer quality, fulfillment, sales performance, et cetera. And so, essentially, I say they've got their finger on the pulse, they've got their hands on the levers and the dials, and it's really a unique proposition for Walmart Marketplace that we have those dedicated teams there to help drive business. To your second question about some cool examples, cool stories, and I think this is where you see how reflexive the 1P and 3P nature can be, right? One example would be Dyson, right? I think you guys have seen. Hopefully, a lot of our viewers and listeners have seen Dyson on Walmart.com. You might not know that relationship is entirely driven by third-party marketplace. Dyson doesn't have a 1P relationship with Walmart, right? But again, not showing the customer your org chart means that Dyson shows up in a really prominent and important way when customer wants, that product, right? On the flip side, back in your old space, Sri, hopefully everybody's seen, and I think everybody will have seen L'Oreal products on Walmart.com, right? But you probably didn't know that sometimes you're seeing, L'Oreal 1P products. Sometimes you're seeing L'Oreal come to you with a 3P offer that might be managed through a large reseller we have, and our audience will understand the name PharmaPacks, right? And Sri, you will from your time in beauty as well. And so I think the lesson is, marketplaces have great opportunities, whether you're new to Walmart, whether you're already in the stores and you want to expand, or maybe you're a legacy partner, you want to enhance that relationship. It's really just about how can I get in? How can I deliver on the customer promise? And how can I just sort of be flexible, right, on whether that should be 1P or 3P or maybe a hybrid, right? And just be prepared for it to be, sort of never a dull moment, I would say.
Shri, what I hear from Matt is, if you're a brand manager, you're not just responsible for supporting the items in your brand portfolio that are carried at this retailer or that retailer, or in this store or that store. You're in charge of the entire portfolio. And so what Walmart's Marketplace is offering brands is to be able to make sure that their entire assortment is available to customers that are shopping at Walmart in an omni-channel manner. And that's what makes it so powerful.
Something very powerful you just said about org charts, right? I think those are the ways of the past, where categories mattered much more than items. Today, the world is very much an item marketplace. It's not a Walmart-specific conversation, doesn't matter where a brand chooses to retail. The way, at the end of the day, all our boss is the consumer, the shopper, the guest who comes into store, goes online to browse, to buy every day, and they certainly shopping by item these days, and they're shopping across marketplaces, right? In that world, the notion that the org charts are extremely important of who we interact with, the value proposition of that is significantly diminished. So you're not wrong when you say, do not show the org charts, because what's the value? I think that's an age-old philosophy in believing that the org chart is the only way to determine how to penetrate and win. I mean, it's an algorithmic world these days at the end of the day. So I believe in that. The second example you gave is a very powerful one, that Dyson, I had no idea, although I should have dug in a little with a couple clicks. Peter and me would have known, but we didn't do the couple clicks. Shame on us. But I did not know that they're 3P, because when you look for Dyson products, they just feature and show up like a 1P vendor. You cannot tell the difference, which is a testimony to how well your team has actually also worked in integrating the UX and the CX for a shopper, your consumer, when they come on board to Walmart.com to actually find products, which is pretty amazing. That example actually may neutralize my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So small brands and large 1P brands can also understand the role of the 3P marketplace and the value to them, which is, I thought the marketplace would typically be for startups and for brands that really don't want to work on the 1P side, and they will start small and grow. So I think it's important to share with our listeners, once you get on the 3P marketplace, are there like a step 1, 2, 3, or like a small playbook that says, here's the must do before you do anything else to begin scaling?
It's the Trinity. We love threes. I'll try to keep this one brief, Sri.
And the one other thing is, he got his Wayne Gretzky reference. I want my ballet reference that you promised.
I got to work ballet into this. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be running that processor as I speak. I'm going to try to work it in. I'm going to try to work in there. So, number one, and I think this is the most important, which is why it's number one. So you're on the platform, right? You want to scale. Don't be bashful, right? You got to trust the market dynamics to power the experience. And that means give the customer everything you can, right? Bring your full catalog, especially in innovations or, on-trend items. Be creative with bundles, with promotions. Be price competitive, right? Deliver quickly. Always be in stock, obviously. And worth noting, WFS, Walmart Fulfillment Services, can greatly assist you with those last two, delivering quickly and always being in stock. And then ultimately, follow through with customer service, great customer service, which is on you, right? That's not something Walmart can provide. But that's how you're going to garner those great reviews that'll make all the work you did on the upfront worth it and really, really power the flywheel, right? So number one, don't be bashful. Number two, and I think we're moving in this direction. It feels like it in the ether, right, in what we're reading. 3P marketplace has to have a seat at the table, at the big table of your planning, right? You should start from a yes to marketplace, a point, I think. And then the conversation should be how. It should be a channel planning decision, right? I think getting it, sort of out of the back of the bus and up to the front seat of your planning, side by side with your other channel planning, I think is critical. And I think we're seeing that, which is great. That's number two. I think number three, and this is true of a lot of really, really high speed partnerships, you just got to be okay with getting dirty in the problem and understanding it's going to be messy, right? And really liking that, or at least being okay with it, because it's an open marketplace. And I think the beauty of that is every day is a new day. Every search is a new search, right? Every add to cart, every checkout, they're all net new every day. So it's like every single time you and the customer get to sort of reinvent the rules, right? You got to lean into that. I think that's number three. Lean into the mess and also the fun of it, right? I didn't work in a ballet reference, but I'm still going to work on that. Maybe that can be in the promotions.
That's okay, Matt. And by the way, thank you for that example with Dyson as a family that has a Norwegian elk hound, which has a double coat of fur. And if not for our Dyson pet vacuum, our house would have tumbleweeds of fur covering the floor. So big fan, Dyson. You should come talk to the CPG guys. We're really nice. We love your product. But in any event, that was a shameless plug, wasn't it, Shree?
And Peter, I have to absolutely, and I got to point out that he did give a ballet reference, because his 1, 2, 3 in the playbook is the grand jeté of everything succeeding. How to succeed on the Walmart marketplace.
I like that.
Thank you,
Shree knows his ballet.
That was a test, and you passed the
So
test.
Sri, I
Thank you.
feel like we're selling those telemarketer steak knives. We've just seen all the good knives, but wait, there's more. I'm not going to bury the lead here because I know Matt's not leaving this podcast until he shares some big news with our audience. Come on, Matt, what do you got for us?
Oof, where's that drum roll? This is super cool, super timely as well, and I appreciate you guys, coordinating this with some news out of Walmart today, which was all about. And to give the history lesson, I think you guys have probably been involved actually in our open call program, right? Which is about Walmart's investment in American jobs, right? And how we're searching for innovative, shelf-ready products every year. Annual event attracts hundreds of prospective sellers who want to get their U.S. manufactured items on our shelves. They submit their most compelling items that are, it's sort of a three-part test, like made, grown, or assembled in the U.S. They submit them to our merchants, sort of, Shark Tank style, to get that shot at distribution in Walmart. And so today, program's been going on for many years, and many of the products you see in Walmart today emerged from the open call program, right? And on top of that, untold thousands of manufacturers have participated in the program, right? So we're coming from a great point in terms of the legacy success of that as Walmart's support for American jobs and, right, Walmart connection to those local communities, which is amazing, right? So the announcement is, this year, we had a bit of an aha moment in the planning for open call, which is that there's no reason for Marketplace not to be front and center of this program and for these programs to drive each other. And so there's two ways we've done that this year. One of them just wrapped, and one of them, as I mentioned, we're opening up, literally just today, right? So what just wrapped is we did an early bird exclusive window, started the submission process much earlier than in previous years, and we gave existing Marketplace sellers first bite at the apple. We gave them an exclusive early bird application period where we were only going to existing Marketplace sellers and saying, here's an opportunity to augment your relationship with Walmart, right? And so on the one hand, kind of, thanking them for their business, right? And then giving them a chance to raise their hands to sort of expand that, right? And go bigger with Walmart. So that was number one. Just wrapped it. Can't share specifics, in fairness for the program, keep everything fair, but really, really great response. And, looking back, it's the kind of thing that just sort of, why didn't we think of this earlier? But we did it, right? The second thing, and if drum roll stops, is that as of 12:01 a.m. Eastern time this morning, Monday, open call is officially going public, right? It's opening up to the broader group of businesses. And here's the kicker is that we're providing dedicated support and mentorship for Marketplace, encouraging folks to apply not just to open call, but apply it to Marketplace, right? And then get the training you need to win as a Marketplace seller. And so you can see how these things work hand in hand. I think the key insight is we really saw, we want sellers to see now, there's not just one road into Walmart, right? And while, again, Shark Tank style, a small fraction of the open call applicants will essentially make it into stores, right? That's just the nature of the funneling, right? But an enormous fraction of those sellers can get onto the Marketplace, right? And they can get onto the Marketplace now. And then they can build their business there. They'll be even better positioned, this time next year to again apply for open call, right? Because they'll have a track record of business that Walmart that they can point to, right? So we're super excited about it. Again, in hindsight, it just seems like a no-brainer. But we got the right teams together, and we're really excited. I encourage everyone to apply to open call and apply to Marketplace. I think it's a historically significant program, for Walmart supportive communities, and we've just kicked it into high gear, right, with third-party marketplaces. So appreciate you guys giving me that airtime, and I hope we can see, some great engagement.
Fantastic. So Peter, before we go any further, we had a bunch of ballet references in the whole conversation. I don't think this was just a grand jate right at the end with the playbook and with the special announcement that Matt just made regarding the extra support that'll be offered up in the next few weeks. But he actually did tippy toes as well, which is, I think, the hardest thing to do in ballet. especially as we dug in a little bit around scaling. And I think you gave some amazing ways, methodologies on how scaling indeed can be achieved. For me, the big takeaways, folks, number one, if there was one big thing to walk away with, 1P suppliers need to pay attention that they actually have a platform now where if a product is not a perfect fit on the shelf, and if it's not a fit online between the omnichannel world of 1P, there's a play to reach the Walmart consumer via 3P. And you get the same services such as Walmart Connect to back up the highlighting of your products. And I think to me, that is the single biggest deal. And then for those who are launching brands from scratch, innovators, startups, you get access to, again, the same thing, Walmart Consumer, but with the surround sound tools and the support of this great gentleman's teams, which if there's nothing else to take away, one thing everybody should take away is the platforms here. You can leverage it and you can continue to grow your business model with Walmart.
Well, I think clearly we've drawn a new audience among bunheads talking about various ballet references, Sri. I'm trying to figure out how I work the word arabesque into the conversation. Oh, wait, I just did.
Oh,
I just
I can
did.
demonstrate one. I can demonstrate one, Peter, if you like. Maybe not. Maybe not. By the way, tiptoeing,
Yes,
I think that's
on point.
called point. Is that right, Sri?
That's correct.
Do you guys have daughters in ballet?
Yes, we do.
Son?
Both of us do. Both of us do. And my daughter was in dance competitions across the whole country, including Radix, the big one. So I've been to maybe 10 Radixes in my life. I know all the terms, and I have sat through many practices with her all over the nation.
Competitive spirit runs in the family.
But Sri, I think what I heard in today's conversation, brands big and small, brands are already on the marketplace or not, I mean, in 1P or not, they can all avail themselves of the marketplace. It's got tremendous resources. And with this open call mentorship to help get them up and running, if you're a brand and you want to grow, you have to be part of Walmart's marketplace.
Yeah, and I actually want to point out that growing in Walmart is actually not like an arabesque, because arabesque is a single leg dance. You stand on one leg while your body moves all the way from fingers, your hand fingers, all the way to your toes. But it's a one leg. I think of this as now a two-leg stool, 1P, 3P. So it's the whole ballet dance itself in its various seven different forms that it actually has. And depending on which style, Russian would be 4, just depends on which part of the world you're looking at ballet from. But this wasn't about ballet. This was about the Walmart marketplace, and what a power-packed episode. We thank you for joining us on the show, coming on board, sharing your wisdom with us. I'll remind our audience that you can find all our content on cpgguys.com on a browser. Join our growing family of LinkedIn users. You can do that easily by going to the search bar on LinkedIn, typing CPG Guys, and hitting the blue plus follow button. When you hit follow, you get to shape the show just like our followers do by telling us exactly who you want to bring on, the type of topics you want to hear. Another way to do that is you can go to ratethispodcast.com/CPG Guys, where you can submit a rating and review for our podcast. The rating helps us understand if we're getting it right. The review helps us understand what changes you want to see. So I would encourage you to do that. I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Guys, this was even more fun than the first time. Really an honor. God, what you guys have achieved and the growth you've seen is just really awesome. So it's really amazing company to be, both on the call here and as well as just the powerhouse of folks you've had on and the folks you have coming up. A lot of fun too. Love a good ballet reference. We'll try to keep things interesting. So maybe we can talk again. To your listeners, feel free to reach out. Love meeting great new people who are passionate about this topic. So thanks again, guys. A lot of fun.
I don't know, Peter, when he walked into the show and he said, hey, I'm good for ballet references, whether he was kidding or not, but we've given him a whole dictionary to work with for sure now. And you don't have to go down the Wayne Gretzky route, but you can certainly learn your ballet as I have.
Please don't make me into a cartoon like ballet dancer on the promo for this.
No, we're not. So
not no, serve anybody well.
I'm sorry. That's not up.
Sri, Matt executed a perfect brise volet in his conversation today.
Hey.
Anyhow,
He didn't know he was talking to two guys who knew their ballet inside out. He had no
Wait
idea.
until we get to the world of opera
Humbled.
for our next episode,
Humbled.
Sri. Oh my God.
Oh, I can go through it. I can hold my own there. Yeah. Next
Problem
time.
is
Next time.
we're two sopranos here, and we try to outdo each other when it comes to singing. It's the
They're playing Ariadne off Naxos at the Met right now. That's my next date as soon as I hang up, guys.
brilliant. Sri, as always, this is just a killer episode. Loved having. Last week we had on Cara Russo from Walmart Connect, and to follow that up, a 1-2 punch with the marketplace team and all that they're doing. You want to learn all about things that are going on at Walmart. Place to come is CPG Guys.
Indeed. And for our listeners, if you want to get in touch with Matt, you want to understand more, remember the links are on the podcast digital liner notes. Please check them out and hop right on. And that's a wrap with Matthew Smith from Fortune 1 Walmart himself. And we will see you soon on another episode of the CPG Guys.
The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.